Alright, so for this problem, the part A says, after how many seconds is the height 144 feet? So we're going to say that, oh, there we go, 144 equals negative 16t squared plus 64t plus 80. Anytime we have a quadratic, we have to set it equal to 0. So I'm going to move that 144, or you can move all three of those terms to the other side, either way. So we're going to have 0 equals negative 16t squared plus 64t. And that would be minus 64. Let me just double check that real quick. Yeah, minus 64. So from here, your job is to factor, and I know in your email you said the factoring part was tripping you up, so let's see. I always recommend to take out that leading negative. If this first term's negative, take it out. I believe the 64s do divide by 16. Again, let me just double check that. So 64 does divide by 16. So always try to see if your middle term and your constant will divide by 16. That makes it the easiest to factor. Otherwise, try 8, try 4, try 2. Usually they'll at least all divide by 2, hopefully 4 or 8 or even 16. If they all divide by 16, I'm going to go ahead and take that 16 out. Makes the factoring easier. That leaves you a positive t squared. The plus 64, when divided by negative 16, will become negative 4t. And then this will become plus 4. So if you can take out a really big GCF and take out that leading negative, don't forget to change the sign on the other two terms. And it leaves you something that's a little bit easier to factor. So t squared minus 4t plus 4 is just t minus 2 times t minus 2. Negative 16 is still out front and equals 0. Because it equals 0, the negative 16 does not affect your answer. So it looks like we just have one answer, t equals 2. And the time is almost always measured in seconds for these. And this will give you that same answer. Sometimes you'll get two different answers and you only take the positive answer. And sometimes if they're both positive, then they're both valid answers, depending on what height it's referring to. But for this one, you just have one answer, and the answer should be t equals 2 seconds. The second part of the question did not print, but if I remember correctly, it will say when does it hit the ground. The ground is when it equals 0. So with that same equation, instead of setting it equal to 144, we're going to set it equal to 0. Again, you want to try to take out the biggest number you can. I believe, once again, you can take out that negative 16. You get t squared, sorry, that's going a little crooked, plus, nope, just kidding, not plus. Let me erase that. Yeah, let's try that again. I'm going to rewrite that so it's a little straighter here. Okay, let's try that again. Negative 16, and then t squared, that'll be minus 4t, and that should end up as minus 5. Again, when we take out that leading negative, changes those other two signs. So hopefully that makes it a little bit easier to factor that part. It should factor into t minus 5 and t plus 1. The negative 16 is still out front. It still equals 0. Again, the negative 16, because it's equal to 0, does not affect your two answers. You would get t equals 5 or t equals negative 1. What I'm doing, again, is setting each one of those binomials equal to 0 using the zero factor property. And so, again, in these problems, you generally only take the positive answer. The negative answer does not apply because of the projectile motion situation. Hopefully that was helpful. Again, to me the key is taking out that GCF as big as you can, 16 or 8 or 4 or even 2, taking out that leading negative, and that should make the trinomial you have left much easier to factor. So I hope this was helpful for you.